So Jesus takes with him Peter and James and John. And the context of today's story is that just before they got to the mountain, they were in Caesarea Philippi. And Jesus had asked them, "Who do people say that I am?" And Peter said, "You are the Messiah, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus said, "On this rock I will build my church." Now let me tell you what that means. I'm heading to Jerusalem, and when I'm there, I'm going to be crucified. And Peter says, No, bad plan. We need to come up with something better than this, Jesus. And Jesus says, "Get behind me, Satan." So they set off for Jerusalem. And halfway between Jerusalem and Caesarea Philippi, they come to this mountain. Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up, and while they're there, Jesus begins to glow and shine like the sun. And a cloud comes down on them. And the voice says, "This is my Son, my beloved. Listen to him." Pay attention to what he says. He's on the right path. And they were terrified. Now we heard Peter's witness in the first reading. He said it wasn't a cleverly devised myth. We were with him on the holy mountain. We heard the voice say. And so you would do well to follow him, because he's like the morning star that will rise in our hearts. But what about John's witness? Where would we find that? Well, we won't find it in the words of Scripture, but we will find it in the writings of early Christian followers. We know that John was the apostle in the city of Ephesus. Ephesus, also called Smyrna, today called Izmir, is the place where all the cruise ships go into Turkey to see the ruins of the city of Ephesus. And above the ruins of the city of Ephesus are the ruins of the church of St. John. And there, his body is buried. John ordained Polycarp to be his successor. And Polycarp ordained Irenaeus. And right at the turn of the 2nd and 3rd century, Irenaeus writes, in talking about the Transfiguration, "The glory of God is a human being fully alive." The glory of God is a human being fully alive. What did he mean by that? He meant that those of us who follow this Jesus, those of us who live in this Jesus who's risen and transfigured, who have the gift of the Spirit, when we call on that gift, when that Spirit comes into us, it illuminates us, it fills us with God's power, and we become alive in a way that we have never been alive before. That we don't understand what human beings are supposed to look like and how they're supposed to act until we see human beings who day in and day out say to God, "Fill me with your Spirit, transform me, transfigure me, pour your power into me, that I may begin to shine with your light and your glory." Irenaeus, reflecting John's teaching, said, "Our call is to be human beings that are fully alive. That's what shows the glory of God." If we go another 100 years to Alexandria, Egypt, we find a bishop who teaches and said, "God became one of us, that we might become like God." That sounds shocking, doesn't it? God became one of us, that we might become like God. Irenaeus spoke to the first gift that God gives us, which is glory, becoming fully human, filled with that glory of God. But Athanasius of Alexandria, Egypt, says that the second gift that we get is immortality. That the immortal God, the God who knows no death, came and took human existence and accepted death and rose from the grave so that you and I, who are destined to death, who are not immortal, will become immortal. The second gift that God gives us is immortality. And the Transfiguration is the foreshadowing of all of it. It says to us, you are destined for glory, you are destined for immortality, and it all is because of the gift that we find in Jesus Christ. It is a gift freely given, a gift given at great cost to God, a gift that will change us forever, a gift that will fill us with God's light, a gift that will end death forever, a gift that we can choose or we can turn our backs upon. This day, the voice from the clouds speaks to us. This is my Son, my beloved. Listen to him. He offers you great gifts, glory, immortality. Will you take them? Will you live them? Will you glory in them?